Hello, everybody. This is Travis from Purple Phoenix Games, and I have a very special guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jack, the creative director of Half Monster Games, creators of Trust Me, I'm a Doctor, Trust Me, I'm a Superhero, and our upcoming Kickstarter alien hunting game, Xeno Hunters.
Right, and I know that's something that we want to definitely get into, so why don't we do that right at the top here. So tell us more about Xeno Hunters. I've played it. And I'll tell you, my thoughts, because I've already published the preview of that, so there's no secrets as far as that's concerned. But
yeah.
Why don't you give everybody kind of a rundown?
And thank you for your review as well. I really liked it. That was awesome. Glad you enjoyed it. I'll do a little bit of screen share as well, just so it's not just my face being like, what? But yeah, so Xeno Hunters is set in the distant future. Where a team of intergalactic mercenaries has been sent to the frontier where a whole bunch of ships and space stations are going dark to investigate what's going on. And what's going on is aliens. So one player is actually going to be playing a terrifying kind of alien creature that is part of an outbreak of similar organisms that are laying eggs and infecting people and creeping onto ships and mauling them in the dark and stuff like that.
As they do.
Yep, that's right. And so you can actually play through 4 missions where you, as the players that are not playing the alien, are hunting the alien and attempting to blow up the stations. And the alien player is also trying to hunt the humans. So it's sort of, I'm calling it a double hidden movement game. It's very science fiction orientated. It's a lot like sort of Among Us / Alien / a whole bunch of those kind of games. Or sorry, like movie properties. And what's sort of come out during development is that it's a very cinematic experience, which I think is something that sort of you talked a little bit about, is the phases to the game sort of are really varied and can go from sneaking around and being really trying to accomplish your objectives and trying to maul the humans and jump out of the darkness at them. And then when you gather everything you need to blow up the stations, this really like focused and honed tactical experience where you're trying to misdirect, and the alien sort of knows what you're doing, so you have to mislead them. And then, sort of action sequence endings where once you hit the detonator, chain reactions spread throughout each location. And you've got to try and escape all of the explosions that end up happening.
Which there will be many.
Yeah, while aliens
goes well
you at the same time. So it's good. It's fun being the alien because you're just like, at any stage really, you can just murder humans and eat them and turn them into your like egg spawn and stuff. But that's sort of that's a brief overview of the game.
Yes.
And we're going live on Kickstarter next week on the 7th.
On the 7th.
Yeah, on the 7th of April. Yeah, next week as of now recording. But yeah.
Yes. Yes, and I've seen like your little preview launch page, and I gotta say it's looking good. It needs a couple more things in there, but if you have no other reviews on there, I think it looks fine the way it is, because it's just mine.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
We're getting there. We've been sort of on the back end, and like anyone that's sort of following our projects and things with Trust Me, I'm a Superhero, the fulfillment especially. It's been just the way the world is at the moment in terms of manufacturing, logistics, and shipping. It's been a bit like fighting through a bit of molasses at the moment to try and get everything out and moving really effectively. But we've overcome those hurdles, and we're ready to keep going with this next one.
You didn't have anything stuck in the Suez Canal, did you?
No, thank God. So we very luckily chose air shipping to all of the distribution kind of places, so from our factory. And so, we went over that issue, thank God. But that was like bonkers, hey. I think.
But now you're going to think twice about, using sea shipment.
Yeah, definitely. We're sort of, as a business, we're getting to the stage where we're producing sort of, rather than a few thousand copies of everything. We're producing tens of thousands, and so we're very much getting into the stage where we need to use containers and do that kind of stuff, and it's not cost effective to air freight everything everywhere. And yeah, it's going to be interesting sort of dealing with those things, because prior to having a business, like, a ship being stuck in the Suez Canal was just, I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's something that happened. But now
Right.
business operating internationally and, trying to reach over to the US and the EU and stuff, where the board game communities are just so huge. It's definitely interesting being like, oh, does that affect me? I don't know.
Right. So, because you touched on it just now, is the board gaming scene in Australia not like developed yet, or like, I guess touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, like it's definitely strong, and it's in terms of, it's something like 10% of the global market, like which is really awesome. But then when you look at sort of the EU is about sort of like 40%, or like 30 or something, and the US is sort of 40 or 50%. So it sort of varies year to year, but yeah, it's the great thing is that it's growing everywhere worldwide. So in Australia we do have sort of strong communities. They tend to be clustered around Sydney and Melbourne, which are the big population centers on the eastern coast. But
Sure.
Yeah. Or
that makes sense though, that the big cities get all the attention. It's the same thing here in the US too. Like, there are satellite metropolitan areas that see some action as well, but you get the majority in those big cities.
Yeah, it's been interesting actually. I've been calling a lot of US retailers to say hi, and like, this is who we are, and we're coming over, and we've got a whole bunch of stock that we can send you from within the US now, which is new and cool.
Hey.
It's been very interesting learning about the differences between how Australia operates and how the US operates, particularly on the store to store friendly local game store level. Yeah.
And that's due to what? Like, what are some of those differences?
So I think it might be a symptom of because we're obviously in Australia reaching across the ocean. Like, I tend to call people at around like 9 p.m. US.
As it is now, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and thank you for staying up for me. So in Australia, like when we call during business hours, during the day, obviously it's it's usually like a busy time, and because we're based in Australia, we can just be like, hey, like I'll just drop the stuff over to you. But yeah, like operating in the US from Australia it's a lot of interesting conversations about being like, no, we're not sending it from Australia to you. Like, it's going to be from within the US, just like with the sort of Kickstarter packages and backing and stuff. And yeah, I just love chatting to American people. They're very very like, yeah, all right, yeah, sure, yeah.
Wait, Australians aren't like that? Is that what you're saying?
No, Australians, because the market is growing, and like it's very well established, but it's not to quite the scale of the US. Like, I don't think anywhere in the world is the scale of the US in many different areas. We just don't have the population density. Like, we've got in the whole of Australia about 27 million people. Okay. That's like one state in the US, a lot of the time. So, yeah, like in terms of bringing new products, especially international ones, over, like we wouldn't necessarily have been able to do it before we've had the sort of success and reach and like opportunities that we've been able to take advantage of here in Australia first. So it's sort of a proving ground thing. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
The first game, Animal Empire, the first Kickstarter we did sort of like 3 years ago, I did a bit of outreach and stuff and was testing the waters, and it was just, a lot of, interestingly, a lot of retailers and distributors really like to see that you have multiple games that have persist as products that are, that you're still selling, rather than just one or two products, if that makes sense. Because because I think it shows that, like, you can print the same thing multiple times, that you can distribute, and the games have long-term interest from customers and things like that. So yeah, it's I don't know whether it's a matter of sort of necessarily differences between the US and Australia, but just maybe it's our scale is a bit different nowadays. But yeah, so with Australians, the stores tend to be a little kind of smaller than their equivalents in the US, and the shelf space is always limited. So yeah, just taking on something new is a pretty big step, if you know what I mean. Until we've sort of proven, or at least presented, the track record that we have with reliably producing things and delivering them, people enjoying them, and things like that. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're definitely going for diversity, especially now with Xenohunters. Like your other games that you've put out have been a lot smaller in scale, right? Like, and the boxes are smaller, whereas Xenohunters, and I don't know if that's going to be like the size that you're looking to produce, on final product, but the thing was pretty big.
Yeah, it is. I'll quickly run and grab my copy.
Yeah.
It's out, and me just being like, But yeah, so what we've done this time, and this is something we learned from producing our previous games, is actually getting manufacturer templates early and then designing to those templates. So that's sort of, in a way, made it sort of both more affordable and easier for us to design, or for me to turn into a game, because I know exactly the sizes things need to be. So this is going to be the size of it. So pretty good. This is all my graphic design.
Well, it's homemade.
yeah, that's right. The manufactured ones are going to be much more awesome. But yeah, it's got all the stuff in it. There's a lot of space. There's a lot of spare space, because obviously we'll have like an insert with everything in it. But yeah, it's been good doing that this time and having such a good relationship with the manufacturer, who are called Hawaii Paper Creations, because yeah, it's making this prototyping and product design process just so much smoother. So we can just use all the, from the beginning I talked to them about like, how big will it be, how much will that cost, what are the options that we can do for different boards and cards and everything like that. So it's definitely a jump.
It's an ambitious project. Doing that jump from what I'm used to seeing come through, like when you were talking about Trust Me I'm a Doctor and Trust Me I'm a Superhero. Those are the smallish boxes, full of cards and whatnot, and got big hands.
One thing that I've really wanted to do, or like we as a company, is that we do want to be broad and to be continually sort of, I guess, like pushing ourselves in terms of making sure we can both like creatively explore different things we want to do, but also to just have a range of things that our fans and customers and audience might find interesting. Because I think we started out small in terms of the size of the games, because that was the capacity that we had at the time and the resources. My first ever game was a zine, which is like a mini magazine, which is about like 12 pages. It's just printed out, in a place. And the next game was a single deck, which was Terrible Candidates, which was 54 cards in a small box. And then Animal Empire was a bit bigger. And we're actually internally the schedule we work on is one big game and then one small game. So the next one, Gatherers, will actually, in terms of the package, it's a role-playing game, but you'll get sort of like a box similar to Superhero or Doctor, with the flip lid, but that'll be a rule book, as well as a deck of cards and some other cool little things in there. So I'm very excited about that. But so we sort of push ourselves and extend our skills on these big games, and then we refine and perfect those things that we've learned by going back to a smaller game. So trying to set up a bit of a it's like a like an exercise regimen where you have leg day and then arm day and then stuff like that.
Well, some people have leg day and arm day. Some people skip leg day altogether, right?
I have 2 kids under 4 years old, so that's enough exercise for me. Thank you very much.
No, I get it. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old in 2 weeks. So yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I get it.
So cute. That's the same gap as my kids. Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
The empathy.
So then if you have kids that age, then you most certainly know of Bluey Set in your area.
In Brisbane, yeah. We're keeping like, that's South Bank. That's the thing. That's this other place. Yeah.
Yeah, we watch that non-stop here.
Wow.
And actually, that show is quite unfair for parents because there's no way any parent can live up to those parents on that show. They're just fabulous.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I imagine like this one nice piece of sort of advice I got at some point was that it's okay. You're a good parent if you're doing good parenting like 30% of the time. And your kids aren't going to be messed up if it's like the other 70%. You're just like, I'm dying. And I was like, okay, that's good. So I imagine on Bluey, they just turn the cameras on, for a few hours each day. And the rest of the time, they're just as exhausted as the rest of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned your first game was a small zine game. What was the name of that one?
It was called Goo Nebula Panic.
Okay, so I saw that on the list.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe yeah, well, I like to do my research. So I look on Board Game Geek and looked you up to see, what linked games you had there. And there's no, it's on there, but there's no photo or anything. So.
Wow. I think that means that someone has uploaded that, and I didn't put that up there. So that's really cool.
Well, there you are.
I'll bring
Even more famous than you thought.
It's interesting, like just then when you said, you've done a little research, I was like, oh my God, really?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so it was literally a zine, and it was a little mini book, and you cut the plain pieces out of the back, and I handmade little goo monsters, and yeah, so this is actually the people playing. So you set up a spaceship and there's goo monsters all around it, and you use like coins and dice and stuff from around your house that were the little characters. Yeah, and a deck of cards. So you're trying to repair the spaceship in deep space that had gotten trapped in the Goo Nebula that you knew you shouldn't have flown into, but you did anyway. And these 3 people playing, or these 4, are actually my business partner Callan's family. So
okay.
Yeah, that's a little cool. Game. Yeah, so that's $10.
Well, there you go. You'll have to upload that logo onto BGG so that people can see that. And
yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh my God. I had no idea that anyone had even stuck anything up. So that's very.
Well, there
cool.
You are.
If it's helping me.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do, man. That's what friends are for. Yeah. Okay. So when did you become Half Monster Games? How did that come about?
So we incorporated about 3 years ago. I think that's the right term, but became an official company, sort of licensed with the Australian Tax Department and with all the documents and directorships and stuff. Prior to that, for about 3 years, my friend Callan and I had just been making games together, and he was living in Japan, so it was like a really nice way that we could connect. Was by we'd email each other stuff and then print it out and then play together. And I would set up chairs on tables and have a plank and my phone hanging over to and he'd tell me what actions he wanted to take and stuff, and very scrappy. And then prior to that, I personally worked in a I've always loved playing video games and board games and things, and I worked at a school for about 5 years as a teacher aide with students with ADHD and ASD and stuff like that, and found that making sort of small games out of the kind of work that they had to do, like English or math and things like that, really helped them focus and learn the content because it was fun. So yeah, that's sort of how I started making, properly making frequently quite a number of little games and things.
Sure.
Yeah, and my true start came when I always wanted to be a fiction writer and write books and things, but I wasn't very good at it. I was good at world building, but I could just never decide what the main characters, like who they should be or where they should go and stuff like that, because there was just too many things that I wanted to include in every world. And once I showed a story to my wife, who was like, she's an English teacher, so yeah, she eventually was just like, I'm so sorry, this is not very good. Why don't you try and make a game out of it or something? And I was like, okay. And that's really fun. So yeah, I just kept going from there. And yeah. That's sort of the build-up is, always wanting to be creative, and then finding an avenue that I was really passionate about already, and combining those passions. And then Callan coming on board because he's really passionate about operations and business and supporting creative people, and our friendship obviously, and it's just grown and grown since then. So we have a regular, like a project-based team in Brisbane now. So when we're working on projects, we assemble, like Xenohunters had a team of about 6 people that were working in various things. So, rules or art or social media and stuff like that. We sort of just go up and down at the moment. Eventually, I would love to be able to run like a proper studio with full-time staff and maybe little teams and pods and stuff of people working on different things and different games. Yeah, that would be cool. That's sort of the genesis of all of this.
So you have your wife to thank or blame for what you do now.
Yeah. Well, and obviously running a small business is pretty topsy-turvy at the start. So, she's been very supportive and it's been amazing. It's definitely a team effort from the whole family to do anything, as I'm sure you know. Like, setting up Phoenix and keeping going, and it's 9 p.m. and so yeah.
Well, I have some good tea, so that helps as well.
Yeah, is that chamomile?
Oh no, it's actually chai tea latte. Because I'm so fancy, of course. So. Okay, you have a stable of games now that you have produced. Of those, and we won't include Xenohunters quite yet, but of those then, which one do you think is probably the best game that is a little like less known, or your sleeper or your hidden gem?
I think definitely Animal Empire, because that's like, I've been playing that for 4 years now, still, and every time, almost every time I play it, I'm surprised by what players do, really. Because, it's about going out and capturing territory and getting armies that all have different specialties and exploring the wilderness and getting really powerful technologies and stuff that can bring you out on top and just completely flip the game. And it has the social aspect of people being able to capture other players and bring them in as, not loyal vassals. So I'm working really hard on a rules update for that, both to include in the copies, and online for people that have previously purchased the game. Because it's smaller, but it's really stood the test of time in terms of being interesting, even after I've played it like 1,000 times. Does that make sense? So if you're doing a rules update, does that have to technically be 2.0, or do you classify it now as like a living card game? How do you? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So what I'll likely do is well, obviously we'll have it up online so people can go and download PDF or whatnot. Doing I think a second edition and maybe making it bigger and better and offering sort of 3D model files for little commanders and generals and adding some gameplay elements and things like that. But we'll see. It's we're just focused on Xenohunters right now, sort of getting that out.
Yeah, I get that.
You know how it is, just being like
for sure.
Yeah, 1 million plans, but not 1 million days to do them. Yeah.
So what do you have left to do on Xenohunters? I thought it was pretty much all done.
Yeah, like Xeno Hunters mechanically and artwork mechanically 100% done. Or like all games I think are always 99.5% done. I could keep going forever, like tweaking,
Sure.
and, you know. But no, that's all done mechanically. Artwork wise, post Kickstarter, as sort of explained in the Kickstarter, like a portion of the funds is going to go to like finishing everything up. So like getting artwork to differentiate the different hybrid spawn cards from each other, and you know, getting professional design for the box, because like I think I've done a pretty good job, you know, but it could always be improved by the hand of an actual professional artist.
Well, and I know you posted a question about that box cover, and I put in my 2 cents about the heroes in this game. I absolutely love your choice of making all 4 heroes female, because I think that's great, and it's like it doesn't like, how do I want to say this? It is not something that, okay, so the girls are badass, right? So they're going in and they're like taking down a starship, and I think that's great, and it was my opinion. I see you didn't go with it, which is fine, you know, whatever. That you should feature them as much as possible, you know, just because I think, you know, the climate we're in, especially, that's something that would be beneficial. But strictly, even just, you know, just having them in the game, I think is just a really, really great choice, and I liked playing with them quite a bit. So what made you decide to make them all female?
It wasn't necessarily a deliberate, conscious decision at the start. Just as the characters evolved, I was like, oh, well, you know, they're all just awesome ladies running around space, blowing stuff up and hunting aliens. And we had, you know, we've obviously had been talking to people and getting feedback on it, and like almost everyone we talk to is like, that's awesome. I really like that, and I like that it's not a big deal, and also that they're not like over sexualized. Like they're attractive, but the main thing is that they're out in space hunting aliens, so they're very practically dressed for that objective.
Exactly.
And so and you know, we talk to retailers and distributors and send them box covers and things and go like, hey, what do you think? How do you think this will go on your shelf and stuff like that? And occasionally we get a couple of points of feedback being like, you know, maybe it would, you know, sell a bit better maybe if there's, you know, some adjustments in those veins. But I think that sort of made us have, you know, really think about it and go like, okay, like what is our focus here, and do we want to sort of, which priority do we want to have here? Do we want it to be about, well, we would like a semi-realistic portrayal of what that would be like, or do we want to sort of go down the route of not pandering, but sort of designing it more for like the male eye? And I had to sort of do a bit of internal reflection as well of like, is it, you know, is it okay for me as, you know, like a, you know, middle-aged white male to be like, all the people in this game are women because that's important, and, you know, am I like sort of like adopting like a cause that's not mine to do, but the whole Half Monster team, you know, it's mostly women here in Brisbane that we work on the projects with, and like everyone just, I think it's important, and I would do want to sort of take a stand against take a stand and say like, it shouldn't matter that they're all women, and it shouldn't matter that, you know, they're not dressed scantily in this game, because it's a big question of like representation and stuff, and that's not often necessarily brought up very often here in Australia in this space, and I know in the US it's definitely something that there's a lot more very vocal opinions about. So I mean, I'm glad that you like it, and the feedback that I've been getting is that people really love it, especially the players and our audience, and that's the important thing, I think. I do want to show you something though, and I'll just duck back behind my screen again.
Just bring everything out, or take the screen down, or
well, it's because I'm going to piece it together. So we have started to do that thing where we go into retailers and go like, hey, like, here's the game. Like, what do you think? How will it look on your shelf? You know, is there anything we can do? And the feedback we've gotten is that the front of it, bam, is really attention grabbing because there's not a lot of games at the moment that are like a black field with some big focal point in the middle. That's why we did that for the cover rather than the sort of Technicolor squad image, if that makes sense. So this is a bit more mysterious, and if you're wandering past a shelf, you're like, oh, what is that? Because it's like a void amidst all these other very colorful boxes. But then on the sides, I built it so that you can do this. And if the box is aligned properly, they will in the future. But yeah, so on the shelf, most of the time, your game in a retailer will not be done like this on the shelf. That's like extremely rare unless you're like Catan or like some really famous game. So they were like, hey, look, if you want to have like a big team squad photo, it's probably better not necessarily to have it on the front, but to stick it on the side. And then that actually incentivizes, because it looks awesome, retailers to put 2 copies of your game on the shelf instead of just 1. So I was like, okay, all right.
Now they have to buy twice as many so that they can display them properly, right?
Yeah, or it just, it's a win-win. We sell more and that looks dope. So, yep, there are the ladies on there. That'll keep being refined, but I thought that was pretty cool. And also, we got the alien on the side. So that looks... Do you have the sprays in the US? It looks a bit munted. That's an Australianism for you? We just like, oh.
We don't have that.
Okay.
At least not where I'm from.
That's a bit better, but yeah, they're going to align, and you can see the alien on there from the side.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, that was a little bit of still keeping everyone on the box, but compromising and just seeing where. And on these fit really well on a collapsed shelf. I have one, the traditional board gaming shelf, so you can do it this way or this way or this way, and it all looks awesome. And you can pick your favorite Xeno Hunters to have facing out, or just buy 2. I mean, why not?
You should. Unless you were to do a box like, I don't know, do you have Lords of Waterdeep, where it's like, the box cover doesn't cover the entire base, but only halfway. And then it's like just a half top, like width-wise.
And you can sort of move it out a little bit. Am I getting that right?
You know what? Maybe I have to go grab mine. Yeah. But my games are a little bit further away. Give me a sec.
It's a very active podcast. Just while he's not here, I want to say Travis is amazing. Working with Purple Phoenix has been so good. Also, previously, the mascot for the game was this picture of an alien lady, licking her bloody lips and stuff. One aspect of the game I haven't talked about is that when you die, you become an alien.
Okay.
I just told everyone the top 10 things I hate about you, so...
Oh, good. And you got it all done in that amount of time?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the Lords of Waterdeep. So on the side, I don't know how well you can see that, but the box is only a half.
Ah, interesting. That's so
it's
mysterious.
kind of, yeah, it's kind of weird, but yeah, it's only like a little halfy.
Okay, can you take the bottom half off as well?
No, it's attached.
Interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I love
just an idea.
And box design. I've become a total nerd for it since I've been having to make those decisions.
Yeah.
Like the flip box nature of the Trust Me Doctor and Trust Me Superhero and Animal Empire. Yeah, I didn't realize it was uncommon to have like a flippy box thing. I was just like, it's cool. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of the ones that I've seen like that have the magnetic enclosure with the little flap then that comes off.
Yeah, that's something we really want to do in the future. Yeah.
You're going to have to buy stock in rare earth metals or something.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what
maybe I'll do that, ordering them all. Yeah. I've been playing, do you know about EVE Online, the spaceship game?
Yes, I know of it, but I've not played it.
I've been playing, so there's an app now for it, and I've been like playing that, while, bottle feeding my kids and, whenever I'm up at 4 a.m. or whatever, patting them to sleep. And so now I'm all like, ooh, gotta get stocks in different ores in case it rises in price. And I'm like, no, I'm over nerding now. I'm contemplating
I don't know that there's a such thing.
I don't think so either. There should be a game called like Nerd Tycoon or something where you're like trying to assemble the perfect nerd.
Well, there you go. After Gatherers, you can tackle that one.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of doing a game called Tabletop Tycoon actually, and it's about it's like about running a global tabletop business. As far as I know about it, and there's different distributors and you have to make different products and stuff. And I was like, the target market for that is me. So maybe I'll just push that out a little bit into the future when we're
you'll have to play on that one maybe.
Yeah, I've been really getting into doing like educational games and that kind of thing. So I'm doing just like a roundabout way of describing where that sort of tabletop tycoon idea is I'm doing a master's at the Queensland University of Technology about how to make educational science-based games. So I don't think I've sent you one of these, but Virtual Reef Diver is a game I've made and that is being sold in museums and aquariums and stuff about the Great Barrier Reef. That sort of teaches you about that, and we also have like a musical game and a COVID game and all this kind of stuff through the university.
You said you have a musical game as well?
Yeah. So this links to the second thing that I need to talk about before Tabletop Tycoon, which is where we've started a program called Ink and Gumption, which is because we self-publish and distribute worldwide and do sales and things from start of design through all the stages of doing this thing called, having a games business. We have built a system where people can slot their games in at any stage of the process. Can you hear that in the background?
Yeah, I just assumed it was like quokkas or kangaroos or whatever.
The thing down just a sec. We're actually on a spaceship here, so it's all HMS Monster. So Ink and Gumption is where we support other independent creators. There are other small businesses or individuals that are making their own games and things. So helping in the, how to build a Kickstarter page, doing the funding, like where that funding goes, how to manufacture, how to distribute, and particularly how to distribute worldwide, because each of those stages gets bigger, more complicated, and more expensive. We've found. So, where was I going? Yes. So, and I found that so the program that we have is video based and like sort of sending out like emails as people complete different steps of like, okay, here's what you can do next. Here's our ideas. Where are you at? What do you need help with? But I was finding that there's an opportunity there to make a game that like summarizes how it all works around the world. Like, you get different games, you have to give them different themes and mechanics and sometimes change those and get feedback, and all those things that you do makes your game stronger and better as a product. And crowdfunding, and then having like a global map of like, okay, so your game is made here, how do you get it here when, and how much it all costs and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date on that, but yeah, I think it'll be fun, especially for...
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's because I think we've sort of done so many things like a hard way, if that makes sense, of sort of learning a lot of it ourselves, and it's mostly because I'm sort of really impatient and I just want to get all my games out into the world, and I can't, wait 8 months to petition publishers and then hopefully get into one of them. So I was like, why don't we just do it ourselves and release 3 games in that same time?
For sure.
Back, I'm like, No, I love the small business thing. It's really fun. So yeah, having a game that lets people practice those skills of how to make games, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I would play that game. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's like a window into like the games that end up on your table. Like, how they get there and where they come from and how you do the ideation process and the piecing it all together. And it's a cool process, especially once you get into it. Yeah. Have you ever had like games that you want to get out and ideas for them and stuff like that?
Me? No. I'm creative in other ways. I couldn't possibly design a playable game, but I'll play everybody else's games. So.
Yeah, and thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and you were talking about let's see here. This? Can you see my screen?
You did do one. I'm so sorry. It must have been a while ago. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, I remember. Yeah. I used your review in a sheet that I sent out to the museums, and I was like, "Hey, this person liked it. I think you'll like it as well."
There you go. There you go. People helping people.
Yeah, it's been interesting with that game because of the competing objectives. So like schools and museums love it because they're like, yeah, this is dope. This is better than like a textbook. But the balance of fun and education is a tricky one.
Yes, I can definitely see that for sure.
Yeah. I appreciated how fair your review was and like the points that you brought up were so valid. And yeah, thank you for doing that.
Hey, anytime. I'm here for you.
Everyone read that review. It's really good.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Okay. So I know you are a big time designer, super popular and very, very successful and rolling in the money. But you also play a lot of games too, right?
Not as much as I want to, but I do try. Yeah, I definitely test the crap out.
That's all of us right now, for sure. Well, especially with you guys going back on lockdown now, and I'm sure that's going to weaken your. Yep.
Yeah. It's we've had something like 12 new cases in the last 24 hours in the community, and I'm like, it's Easter weekend. It's not going to happen. It's just we're going to be in lockdown probably until next Monday at the earliest. But I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's safe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think we're just so blessed nowadays that like a lot of us are, not everyone, but there's a lot more people can do work from home, and we've got the systems in place to allow people to continue living their lives. Not everyone, but I don't know. Yeah, we're very lucky here in Australia.
Well, let's turn this around instead of talking about that nasty stuff. Let me do a lightning round of questions for you. So these are designed to be super quick.
Okay.
Maybe not. Okay, are you ready?
I tend to ramble, so yeah.
Okay, here we go. Short ones. What is your favorite player color?
Red.
Red. Nobody says red. Okay. Minis, yay or nay?
Yay.
Ooh.
So yay. Yeah.
Other than yourself, favorite designer?
I think the people that made Quacks of Quedlinburg. I played that over the weekend, and I was like, this is amazing. It's like gambling.
Yes.
Exactly like gambling. I'm hooked. I'm gonna play again. Yeah.
But you don't end up losing all of your money that night.
Also, I will give a shout out to Sean Fainmore here in Australia. He's awesome. He's made Pocket Game Design Kit and Among the Stars and a whole bunch of things, along with Kyril Hamdan. He makes really awesome stuff, and I'd recommend that everyone check it out.
Okay. He made Among the Stars?
Is it Among the Stars? I'll look it up and get back to you exactly what the name is. But,
that's okay. All right. So thinking of existing games, what is your favorite component?
I think it would be, so it's from Quacks of Quedlinburg. It is the little kind of the books, the custom books that have the different kind of like values and effects of the different ingredients. I just thought that was so clever and so cute. And also that Wild West game where you build like a train and you have people shooting each other on top of it.
Colt Express, yeah.
Colt Express. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, the train is cool.
Yeah.
Highly unnecessary, but cool.
Yeah.
Because that could easily just be a board.
That could sum up, board games in general, I guess. That's, I need them to survive. They're amazing.
All right. What about deluxe editions, yay or nay?
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh. What's your favorite part of like a deluxe upgrade?
I think when there's something that you can wear, you know what I mean? Like some like extra thing that's like pretty extra. That's not just an extra component. So yeah, like for Trust Me My Doctor, we had plague masks, which are still available actually on our site. We've got a few left from the Kickstarter. But yeah, I thought that was pretty dope. Like things that expand the world and allow you to immerse yourself more in them. That's what I really like.
All right. Interesting. Okay. Outside of games, like either your business, playing, or designing, what other activities do you like to do? And I know with young kids, it's hard to have any of that. I get it. I get it.
I'm going to sound so basic, but I just love just going to the movies with my wife, and just sitting in the darkness and just having uninterrupted watching something and eating stuff. It's heaven.
Watching something and eating stuff.
Yeah, that's right. I also really like doing live action roleplay stuff. So
really?
Yeah. So like running around with the swords and like buffing each other. There's a couple of groups around in Brisbane where you can do that, and I just think that is so cool. I
haven't done that. I don't know if I'd be into it or not.
You got to try it, man. It's so cool. Yeah. And especially some of the groups are roleplay orientated as well, and sort of have like meta kind of games where the battles you're taking part in are affecting like a map, and you're capturing different territories and different war bands, the focal point for the night, and everyone takes turns sort of doing that. It's cool. Yeah. If you like board games, you'll like this.
Well, I do like that. I do like role playing, and like I have a D&D group and whatever, but that's like the next level, and I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so here's a thinky kind of question.
Yep.
But it comes from a musical theater production. So it's a musical theater based question, and it's a lyric from a show called Title of Show, and it's would you rather be 9 people's favorite thing or 100 people's 9th favorite thing?
I guess I think the first one, because I think one thing I really respond to and really enjoy is sort of passion in people. So I mean that's why I make board games, is because I really love seeing people just really getting into it and having fun and like igniting that kind of passion. That's why the company's called Half Monster Games, is because we sort of think there's a little bit of a monster in everyone, and we like to bring that out, and that can be really fun. And I like supporting people to explore their passions, and like I really love being a father and that kind of thing. So
okay.
Yeah, I'd say the first one, I think.
Sounds good. If you could have any superpower, like you get to choose it off the shelf, what would it be?
Probably being able to teleport.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Like a cloud of black smoke. So cool. I wanted to look evil, you know what I mean?
I think
what was yours?
Well, it's also teleportation.
Nice.
But you're
best power.
Yes, it is the best power, and you're the second person that's agreed. Yeah. But a lot of people will say like flight, which is kind of like teleporting, just a lot slower. And get more bugs in your teeth.
I mean, it depends if you maintain your inertia when you teleport or not. Because you could technically fly if you can teleport. You just teleport up, and then you're like, whee!
Okay.
But, obviously, if you maintain your inertia after you teleport, and then you're just like, I'm done flying, you teleport to the ground and then smash into it. Like, that's not...
that's no good.
Yeah, unless you just have a jumping castle always ready. Yeah.
I mean, you could teleport into one.
Yeah, that's the risk, I guess. It'll be soft, man. Yeah. I love teleportation. It's my favorite.
Same.
Yeah.
What about your favorite flavor of ice cream, if you are able to have it?
Oh, I'm so basic. Chocolate. Oh, mint chocolate.
Okay.
Mint chocolate.
Mint chocolate?
Yeah.
Attaboy, that's my favorite too.
Oh my God, let's teleport to the mint chocolate shop.
Yes, but I'm not flying there because unless they have a bouncy castle, I'm not gonna make it.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Okay, last one. Other than my emails, what is one thing that can make your day instantly better?
Just seeing your face in a Skype call.
Oh.
Also, yeah, just having my kids run in and just be like, blah! Like, sometimes I'm like, go away. But minutes later, I'm like, that was actually kind of sweet. They still like me, so.
Mine have just started liking me, so.
Yeah. Oh.
You're further ahead.
When my child is sleeping and I go into the bedroom, I'm like, you are so adorable. That makes me feel better. And I sort of to do that at the end of every day to just be like, you're driving me crazy when you're awake.
You have to. You
so
have to do that.
Sleep. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, where is the best place to get your games? Like, is it on your website? Would you prefer people buy them? Yes, yours.
Yes, so definitely for the US, I think online at the moment is the best, fastest, easiest way. We've got all the games there, and we can do little packages. And I'll actually put together a discount code for you if you like, for 25% off. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
You tell me what the code should be called, and I'll write it down.
Okay.
What should it be called?
How many characters do you have?
Infinite.
Oh my! Oh, there's so many choices now.
Ooh, how about we can call it like PHOENIXRISIng or something?
Whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be a code on there for everyone following you. If you're in Australia, we are currently distributed in heaps of local, friendly local game stores at the moment. So, like Good Games and Gameology, Game Traders, anything with game in it, really. I would recommend hopping along because or at the very least asking, and then we'll give them a call and make them get our stuff. But yeah, we're all over the place now in Australia. It'll be fantastic if you're in this country, to go out and grab some. So it'll be great.
Okay, that sounds good. What about now? This is something that I kind of asked you guys about earlier on in our relationship. What about selling other merch other than games? Are you doing that? Are you wanting to?
We've got a Redbubble store, where we've sort of got like the orc logo. We've got a whole bunch of the Animal Empire armies on different shirts and different colors. We're definitely trying to expand it, but yeah, it's sort of it's one of those tricky things where it's like the demand increases our chance of doing more, and then back and forth. So yeah, if people want to grab stuff, that would be amazing. Redbubble, I think, operates from many different countries, and so you'll get your stuff really quick, and that would really help support us. And yeah, that's
like the one that you have on now.
Oh yeah. So this is my custom Half Monster Games I work here shirt. But yeah, this design is available on Redbubble for people to grab. You can have some Half Monster merch.
Yeah, I mean, why not get your logo out there, your name out there?
Awesome logo as well. Like, people are always like, "What is that? That's cool." So.
Okay. And that's when my computer decided that it needed to freeze up. Apparently it has a sensor on it where if you're having too much fun and having too much engaging conversation, it wants to just freeze and it won't let you do anything. So, word to the wise, that's what Dell laptops do. Anywho, it was super, super fun to get to chat to Jack, even though he's 15 hours ahead of me. So we started recording at 9 p.m. my time in Central Time here. And it was like noon his time. So that's an obstacle. But we did it, and we had a blast, and I think we'll probably end up chatting again sometime in the future. But definitely go check out Xeno Hunters on Kickstarter. I have a preview for it, and I'll leave a link down below. And if you decide that that's something that you want to back, leave me a comment on this video. Yes, I'm going to back it, or yes, I have backed it, or I have played it, and it's great. And I'll pass that along to Jack. Anyway, until next time, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.